Alright, I'm back to talk about Pop Pixie again. So I've already spoken about how I don't care for the fashion of the Pixies and how pointless the gender bending was. Today I want to talk about what the Pixies actually do. How do they spend their days in Pixieville? In the Winx Club, I kind of got the impression that Pixie Village was this utopian communist paradise where everybody's just working together and trying to keep magical balance in the forest and taking care of nature. But in Pop Pixie, we learn that is absolutely not the case. Pixieville is a capitalist hellscape where you need money to survive. This is demonstrated perfectly by Laquette. Throughout the show, she constantly references needing money, not wanting to be broke, being afraid of being fired from her awful, awful job. I have no idea why she's so attached to this job. It barely has anything to do with her talent. In Pop Pixie, she's the pixie of direction, and she works the front desk at the Pixie Plaza, a hotel run by Mr. Rollo, a very mean and awful hotel manager. I don't understand why she doesn't just quit and find a different job. I mean, sure, Pixieville is a capitalist hellscape, but there's gotta be some kind of job market. Her boss is trash. He's constantly threatening to fire her, deduct her pay, sometimes over things that aren't even her fault or in her control at all. She is his only employee and he treats her like dirt. Well, I kind of think that she's his only employee. She has a monkey assistant who the pixie animals are a whole level of weird in this. There's one episode, though, towards the beginning of the season that really, really irked me. The episode in question has Morpho, a pixie who can change his own appearance and other people's appearances, swapping Laquette with one of the elves. And the elf takes Laquette's place at her job and proceeds to just mess everything up. So at the end of the episode, when everything's resolved and Laquette's back in her own body, she gets yelled at by her boss, Mr. Rollo, and he tells her basically that she's going to have to work for free for the next 6 months to pay him back for everything. But none of it was her fault. She had a spell cast on her. She spent the entire day trapped looking like an elf, and the entire town just goes after her. And then when everything's wrapped up, she's gotta, work for free to pay for something that she didn't even do. Honestly, anytime I see Laquette at work, it gives me war flashbacks to some of the worst bosses I've ever had. She's so afraid to run late for work, she has 12 watches on her all the time. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted out of a kid's show. I wanted the feeling of workplace anxiety distilled into this kid's cartoon. Excellent. Next up for discussion, we have Chatta. And guys, they did Chatta so dirty in this. In Pop Pixie, Chatta has aspirations of being a reporter. She wants to write for the newspaper, which I guess she just loves dying media. And that's fine for the Pixie of gossip, but my issue with Chatta in Pop Pixie is the fact that she is a spit talker. This isn't just an occasional gag, it is present in every single episode she talks in. And that's really part of why I find this show really disgusting. It's not even just a drop or two. It's so bad they show multiple characters putting on glasses that have windshield wipers to deal with her. It's crazy how somebody looked at these cute extra characters from the Winx Club and decided, oh yes, dread of being jobless and bodily fluids, perfect for a kid's show about pixies. It's sad because I really like Chatta being a reporter. I think it's cute. It's a good job for her. I just don't understand why they needed to put some gross out humor in this. But it was produced by Nickelodeon, so, I'm not that surprised. Amore fared a little bit better. At least they didn't give her like a super stressful job or any gross out humor. She runs a potion shop. But something I find strange is in the episode where we're introduced to Cherry, or Sherry, or Cherie, depending on which pixie is talking. She mentions how Cherie bought a love potion from her in the past, and Cherie complains how it didn't work. And then Amore says, "Oh, my potions can't like force anybody to fall in love. That's not what a love potion does." But okay, what does a love potion do then? Like, I'm not trying to bring up any moral issues. I don't believe in mind control, and that's basically what a love potion would be, is just a mind control spell. But like logistically, you're selling somebody a love potion, but it doesn't make anyone fall in love. So what is the potion for? How do you feel good about charging people money for this potion that is just by your own admission not going to work? They also gave her an annoying romance with Ranger Robinson, and everybody already knows how I feel about making characters who look like this fall in love with each other. And it's like the most infuriating type of will they, won't they romance where both people obviously like each other. They're not being subtle about it at all, but they're still like dragging it out and they're not an official couple, so whatever. The pixie of love or the pixie of feelings or whatever just can't get it together and get herself a significant other. So I guess everybody should just give up right now. Toon is a school teacher, which she was the pixie of manners. I'm not mad about this job. It makes sense. I'm just not really in love with this job for her. It's just not a very fun job, I guess. I don't know, Toon was so underutilized in this series. She had one of the best designs out of all of the Pixies in the original Winx Club show, so. Also, in Pop Pixie, Toon is the Pop Pixie of vocal power, which isn't even kind of tangentially related to manners. They don't even let her sing opera. What is wrong with them? I don't know who is smoking crack at Rainbow, but they need to get it together. So, the last pixie from the original main cast of Pixies that I haven't discussed yet is Piff. And Piff is always adorable. I really wish she didn't speak in Pop Pixie though. Like, she was always supposed to be a newborn pixie. She was doing like baby speak during the Winx Club, and it was very cute. Here, Piff is almost always just in the background somewhere. I can count on one hand how many times she actually speaks in the show, but it's always a little bit jarring to me. I just was not expecting her to speak. And while I'm talking about Piff, where are her parents? We know pixies don't just magically get born from a plant anymore, so seriously, who is in charge of her? Why is she just always in the background or hanging out with the rest of the fully grown pixies? Where are your parents? Who is raising you? So, with all the old pixies out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the new pixies in the main cast. First up is Caramel, which I don't actually hate everything about Caramel. I'm not in love with her character design, and yes, it shaves years off my life every time I think about how she replaced Digit, but she is not a terrible character. She's the Pop Pixie of strength. She is running the bakery, the Molly Moo. She's fine. I think she could stand to offer Loquette a job as a waitress or something, since Loquette has such a terrible job. But Caramel's fine. I actually don't have all that much to say about her. Her brother Martino is a weird one, though. He's the Pop Pixie of acrobatics, and he's also a bartender or barista, and he loves flirting with girls. I just don't understand why they inject romance into shows for children. Then there's Fix It, who, yeah, I'm mad that he replaced Digit in the main group as their techno magic pixie, but whatever. Fix-It's fine, but I just can't discern any way that he was more appropriate for this role than Digit was. And the last Pixie that I'm going to talk about today is Cherry, or Sherry, or Cherie, depending on who's talking to her. I just don't care for Cherie. She's a stuck-up rich snob who hurls lightning bolts whenever she's a little miffed. In the episode that we're introduced to her, she's throwing a party at her house because she just moved to Pixieville, which that's a whole other kettle of fish. Because I thought that pixies were like born and raised in Pixie Village, but whatever, she moved in from out of town. Cool. But almost from the time she's introduced in the episode, it's apparent that there's going to be some kind of twist about her character, something she just doesn't want to get out. And I thought the twist was going to be that she's not actually super fabulously wealthy and powerful, and that she's just putting on this act so people in this new town will like her. No, that's not it at all. The secret actually is she's embarrassed that she bought a love potion from Amore and it didn't work, and her boyfriend at the time dumped her. That's it. And while she's crying about how her ex boyfriend doesn't love her anymore, she says that he is just some run of the mill pixie from Pixieville who she was hoping to run into again. But then, in an episode much later in the season, we find out that the guy who broke up with her was actually a prince, which I'm not sure what he would be a prince of, because Nymphia is the ruler of Pixieville, and they don't really tell us about any other pixie societies, but I guess they must exist because Cherry immigrated from somewhere. But that's where I'm going to end it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got a suggestion for me, leave it down in the comments. Yeah, that's it. Peace out.